Now, though, I want to turn to Florida and a major development in what was supposed to be Court TV's next live trial. This morning, before jury selection was slated to begin, 16-year-old Aiden Fucci pled guilty to first-degree murder for the death of 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey. Fucci was 14 at the time of the murder. Prosecutors say that he stabbed Bailey to death over 100 times on Mother's Day back in 2021. Joining me now from St. Augustine, Florida, is our own Court TV crime and justice correspondent, Matt Johnson. Matt, I know that you got on a plane, you flew thinking, well, I'm going into court to watch a trial. Tell us what happened in court this morning and what we can expect next.
Well, Judge Ashley, I think it's a sigh of relief for this tight-knit community of St. Augustine that this trial will not take place. They will not have to see all of the gruesome autopsy photos of this beautiful young lady that was stolen her life after she was murdered near her home, stabbed more than 114 times. Her family won't have to listen to that evidence. This community won't have to see that surveillance video of this now admitted killer as he walked around the neighborhood and then went missing for an hour, presumably when he was stabbing her to death, and then was seen on camera running. And then his mom was caught on camera allegedly washing his bloody jeans. That's what this community is not going through today after what he said in court first thing that shocked everybody. Take a look at this video, new to our newsroom today of Court TV. Yep, that's right. The 16-year-old Aiden Fucci, who was set to begin jury selection for his trial, went up to the judge, and he had a big announcement that shocked everybody because prosecutors were not aware that he was going to plead guilty. So now he did plead guilty, and he is facing a minimum of 40 years to life behind bars. Sentencing will be later. But right now, I want to share with you what he shared with this courtroom earlier today. Let's play it.
Mr. Fucci just wanted to make a short statement.
I just want to say I plead not guilty, and I'm sorry for the Bailey family and my family.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure there'll be an opportunity, obviously, at sentencing hearing to speak again at that time. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Aiden Fucci, we heard from him right there in front of this judge. The judge said, do you know, are you of a right mind that what you're doing right now? And he said yes. He spoke with his attorney beforehand. He decided to make this plea, again, meaning that he's going to spend at least 40 years to life behind bars. But with this, because he is a minor, again, he wasn't eligible for the death penalty here in the state of Florida. And this also makes him eligible for a review in 25 years from now as to possibly getting out when he's of the age of 56. Not too old when you think about, you know, the Bailey family has a lifetime sentence here, Judge Ashley.
Yeah, Matt, you are, boy, absolutely right to think that they don't now have to go through hearing all of the evidence and what happened to their daughter. Of course, all our thoughts to that family. Share with us, if you would, Matt, please, any reaction by either the family or the community to this surprising guilty plea.
This community has, you know, embraced this family. There was a huge memorial service that was televised for this life that was taken when she was only 13. She was a big part of this community. She was not only a cheerleader, but she also participated in projects across the city. So earlier today, the family was bracing for that terrible testimony and questions and voir dire, trying to get 6-panel jury that could be impartial in all of this, knowing of what a gruesome death this was. And family members were there today, and they were escorted out after this. A sister of Bailey, of Tristyn Bailey, she was in tears. They were escorted out. They did not make a statement. But a few days ago, ahead of this, what we thought was going to be a week-long trial, Stacy Bailey, Tristyn's mother, posted this on her Facebook, her public Facebook page, and it said, in quote, "A trial in which we have to painfully sit through and listen to the event of the crime and brace for whatever argument the defense counsel makes to explain or create doubt on this actions. It's just not right. Again, they didn't want to go to trial, so this is a sigh of relief for them. As for the community, again, law enforcement really worked hard to find her when she was reported missing on Mother's Day, and then they worked really hard to build a case against this killer. The sheriff released this statement today. The cooperation between the agency and the Bailey family has been unparalleled. Their strength and grace throughout this case has been incredible. This agency will forever be connected to the Bailey family, and this community will forever be Bailey strong. You can't put it in any other words, Judge Ashley. That is the sentiment in this community when you're here in St. Augustine. This community is forever scarred by this evil act.
All right, Bailey Strong, thank you so much, Matt Johnson, for joining us and bringing us all of that information live there in Florida. Still with us to talk about this, Prosecutor Catherine Webster. Catherine, obviously a horrible set of facts, stabbed over 100 times, now pled guilty. Let's talk about our criminal justice system as a broad overview, and to hear that a defendant walked into court and entered knowingly, willingly, voluntarily a guilty plea without the state even know what to expect it is a little bit unusual. Typically, you see negotiations go on ahead of time.
That's right. It is pretty rare, and I can't think of any situation where that has personally happened to me in my 11 years as a prosecutor, especially in a murder case. And this is what I understand. It's called an open plea, where the prosecution doesn't make a suggestion as to a term of years, but the defendant accepts guilt for what he did and then relies on the judge to make a recommendation. That's different if he had gone to a jury trial, I think, because of how horrible these facts were and how egregious they were. He was probably concerned about, and his attorneys were probably concerned about, getting the maximum penalty at trial. So it's entirely possible that he pled guilty this morning to the judge to try to avoid getting the maximum penalty. When juries give those to when juries give those to defendants, the judges are very they don't like to go against the jury's recommendation. So I would guess that he's going to try to plead guilty and then try to ask for some leniency for the court for taking responsibility for what he did.
All right, speaking of the sentencing, we know a status hearing has been set for February 23rd and a sentencing has not yet been set, but I want to see if we can pull up a picture of the knife, the alleged murder weapon, and it's missing a tip, and the tip was located in the victim's skull. So my question, there's a picture of it. Can we expect, in your opinion, at a sentencing hearing that things like this, like pictures of the weapon with the missing tip because it's lodged in her skull, is this kind of evidence likely to come into a sentencing hearing?
Absolutely. I think that the judge will want to know every single fact of the case. And so we will hear about evidence like that, where there was the tip of a knife that was found in her skull, that she was stabbed so many times, that it was on Mother's Day, which is an absolutely egregious day. I mean, any day is horrible to kill someone, but for the mother and the suffering that Tristyn's mother went through, having to lose her daughter on Mother's Day, I expect that the judge will see photos, the judge will hear some testimony, the judge will want to know everything that there is to know about the facts of this case. And I also expect that the judge will hear a lot of impact testimony from the victims. They may receive that in the form of letters, but they may actually hear some live testimony from the victim's family during the sentencing hearing, which will weigh upon the sentence that the judge actually deems is appropriate.
Right. A good summary, thank you, of what we might expect, and certainly all of our thoughts and prayers to the family. A horrible case. He did plead guilty this morning. The defendant did, so next will be sentencing at some point in the future. You're going to stay with me. When we come back, we want to get you back to the Alec Murdaugh case. They are on a lunch break. We expect them back any moment, and it is amazing to me how many details each and every witness gives us to hear exactly what this prosecution is alleging to try to prove that he murdered his own wife and son. Stay tuned.